Hello and welcome back to Disney Journey. I'm retired Imagineer Jim Schull, and you can tell from what's behind me, this is not Lost Canyon. I'm here today at Universal Hollywood to talk about the master plan for this park.
Let's start here on Lancashire Boulevard, where if you stood here 100 years ago, for the price of a ticket, you'd get to see silent movies being made. In fact, Carl Laemmle would even give you a free meal at the studio commissary. It's a good deal. Lancashire is still the main entrance to the studio, which is dominated by the Black Tower. Right next to it is a set of buildings, and one of those buildings was built by Getty Oil. But anyway, let's go up the hill, which was widened for the Harry Potter expansion. What's nice about Universal Hollywood, it's a mix of old and new. The old being this classic sign. But let's turn our attention to the most important reason to be here. The tram tour went down the hill in the 1980s. Today, a lot of attractions are down there. But midway between the upper and the lower lot is the hillside. This was a landscaped hillside which grew over the decades, but was recently cleared for, well, a project you probably have heard about, the Fast and Furious coaster, which is currently under construction. It's a massive beast, and as a coaster enthusiast and a coaster designer, it's something I'm really looking forward to riding, especially the Zero G stall, which comes near the end of the ride. Watching this man with his earth compactor gave me hope that they are starting to go into the home stretch. Home stretch being the construction details. Nearby is this banner from PCL, the construction company, showing the 4 different zones for this project. The zone with the load station is getting a lot of love now. Hopefully they'll be moving along and starting to fill in those window gaps. And I'm hoping there's not graffiti paint. Hope it's nice and clean. I've had enough graffiti for Fast and Furious. Add to that list broken warehouse glass. I can live without graffiti and definitely without broken glass. Thank you very much. And the track is in going down the hill. It would be great to ride it right now. You could do it, but you could only do it once. Universal must know that I love pasta because I'm looking at a big plate of spaghetti. The block zone and track and all the things I love. Looking at the hill though, I start to see that another indication that they're coming to the end, or at least to another phase, because now there's plastic everywhere. And there are also the concrete supports. These are the supports to which the sound wall will be mounted, and they'll be soon marching up the hill. Everything is there, and if you draw a line, you can start to see where the wall will be going. It won't be a picket fence, but you get the idea. That's about it for Fast and Furious. It's moving really fast. The next thing is going to be the turnaround. There's a lot going on at Universal Hollywood, and to check on the other projects, I walked through CityWalk. John Jurdy was the architect, the one who created the overall plan for CityWalk. And it still holds together, including our friend Mr. Kong. Kong, well, he jumped on my hat, but after a brief ride, jumped onto the fence, which is a construction fence for the new security hub that's under construction there at CityWalk. My own suspicion is that you will be entering this security hub and entering directly into CityWalk through the atrium to create a new lobby. Now, the nice thing about this is currently, once you enter the theme park, it's inconvenient to leave to go to CityWalk. And by the end of the day, when you're going to your car, you just want to go home. This will change all of that. And so therefore, the construction guys, they're working. And they're working hard, and they're working fast. The size of this new hub suggests that Universal City has a plan to increase the number and the volume of guests, and this is built to handle that. A natural exit for guests completing security would be into the atrium. This is an opening which is not really used very well, not very much either. It's a little tight, but you can change that. And if you do change it, this would be the sight you'd see. A formal welcoming midpoint in CityWalk to distribute the guests throughout.
Behind me is Mount Lee, and below me is a Fast and Furious. That's the scene, the finale scene for the tram tour. Universal's announced its closing date. I suspect as soon as it does close, that the props will start to be moved and tagged to be moved into the new Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift coaster that they're currently building.
Which suggests that this is not a theme park, but a kit of parts, a set of dominoes. If you take the tram tour and the Falls Lake area, you have 14 acres to play with. Now, what might you do with that space? Well, if you just took the tram tour, you're over 4.73 acres. And if you want to move that, let's say to the bottom of the hill, well, you take all those trees out and wow, you end up with a nice 3.3 acre slot of land. Back to the top of the hill. You have 14 acres to play with if you move the tram tour, and the question becomes, what would you do with it? Well, the Harry Potter Ministry of Magic at Epic Universe is only 10.5 acres, so it would fit. But something also that would fit would be Dark Universe, because that new land weighs in at 10 acres. Both become candidates. Looking into the studio-specific plan gives a clue what may be built next, which could be the Hollywood version of the Universal Studios Grand Hotel that was built in Beijing. Universal Hollywood is unique because it gives you views you can't get anywhere else. Like, well, where Harry Potter went to school. Or this view of not one, not two, but 3 studios. Well, we have Universal, we have Warner's, and of course we have the Disney Company. It's a unique park, but it's time to get moving. Walking on in back into CityWalk, I find myself in front of the Universal Epic Universe store, which is suspicious. It looks like it was occupied by something else. I don't know what, but the way was suspicious. Inside, it's pretty small, a bit disappointing, until the shop was redeemed by this guy.
A wrinkle to the Universal story is that I almost joined Universal Creative because Dave called me one day when he left WDI to go to Universal to lead that Osaka project to invite me to come along. Now, I was sorely tempted, but at the end of the day, the reason that I didn't go is because there was a man at 1401 on the Gold Coast by the name of Marty Sklar, and he made me an offer I just couldn't refuse.
So I stayed at Disney Imagineering and never joined Universal Creative. And I look back at that and think, well, that would have been fun too. But I'm still a fan, and I still go to Universal around the globe, and it's fun to track what they do. And they always surprise, because that hillside that was once densely planted is now the home of a major thrill coaster, which I look forward to riding, and it will change the guest perception of what that park at Universal City is and is all about. A park that used to, allow people to see a silent movie and get a free meal for their ticket is now a worldwide destination. Good for them.
And with that, we bring this special episode of Disney Journey to a close. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel and send me your comments because I do read everyone. Next time I'll be back in Lost Canyon, and I'll see you then.